So many things they will be say human beings fit do better than computer. But when it comes to mathematics, computer better pass human beings. Now why most programming languages they ensure say you fit do mathematical operations, and JavaScript too get several complex mathematics wey you fit do. But to start, we go examine the basic ways to do mathematics with JavaScript. We go begin with addition. If you wan do addition for JavaScript, e dey very simple. You fit just do am like the way we dey write normal mathematics. For instance, if you wan do 10 plus 10, you go just simply write 10 plus 10. And if you return this exercise, e go give you the correct value. Usually, we wan store this value wey go return. We wan store am inside a variable. So we go say, let sum equal to 10 plus 10. So we dey save the sum of this operation inside this variable sum. If we console log our sum variable, we go see say e go become 20, which is the sum of 10 plus 10. And we fit do the same thing for subtraction. If we say 80 minus 20 and we store the result inside a variable, our solution go be correct 60. If we do long numbers like 100,000 or 100 million minus 586,432, our computer go still fit do am very fast with JavaScript. Na light work. And to multiply for JavaScript, we go follow the same approach, but we go use asterisk. And to divide, we go use forward slash. Now, for JavaScript, if we want increase our value by 1, if we want add just 1 to the number, we get shortcuts we will take the do am instead of to the add plus 1 plus 1. For instance, if we get our number variable and we set this variable to 90 and we just want add 1 to this 90, we fit write am like this, say our number variable plus 1, and it will return the value of our previous variable plus 1, which is 91. But if you want write them faster and more efficiently for JavaScript, you get where we do am. We go just say my number plus plus. Now we no need to say equal to again. We go just say the name of our variable plus plus. And at that point, it will add 1 to your variable. The reason why we get this shortcut na because if we dey always do a lot of operations for JavaScript, we be saying na just one increment. Now where we get this shortcut. So instead of they write your variable equal to your variable plus 1, you no go need to write any equal to or any my variable plus 1. You go just write the name of your variable plus plus. And just as we fit add 1 to increment, we also fit subtract 1 to decrease or decrement. For this one now, we could say minus minus. So we just say subtract 1 from this variable. And if you do them as many times as possible, if you write your variable plus plus, for the next line do plus plus, for the next line do plus plus, I'm saying they add 1, they add 1, they add 1, they go. And the same for minus. Now, another operation where we get for JavaScript now remainders. Remainders to find wetin remain if you divide one number by another. You know say some numbers they divisible without remainders, like 10 over 2, it will give us 5, and 10 over 5, it will give us 2. Very easy division. But if you get something like 11 over 5, it will be 2 remainder 1. If we want to know wetin they remain after we divide one number by another, now this operation we go use. You go write percentage. So we go say 11 percentage of 5. We know they say divide am, we they say find the remainder. So it go do 11 over 5, which is 2, remainder 1. That 2, you know, go tell us, you know, go write that. We no care about that 2. We only care about wetin remain 1. So we go store this one inside variable to user. We dey usually use this one to sometimes find out if number na even number or odd number. Because any number where you divide by 2 and it give you 0, that means say the number they divisible and na even number with that. But if you divide them by 2 and it gives you odd number 1, that means say the number na odd number with that. Now, one of the reasons why we dey use this percentage to find out the remainder with that. Another one where we guys talk about my plus equal. If we get variable already where they equal to something like say 50 and we want add another number to this, if you write that, I'm like say we get our variable A and then say a equal to a plus 10. That means say we dey add 10 to the original value where they inside this our variable a, which was 50. So the solution could be 60. But instead of to like and like this, they reckon like this every time. We get shortcut where we go use. We go just say a plus equal 10, which is the same thing as saying a equal to the previous value of a plus 10. Same for these our other examples. This na the previous value, and we dey change them by writing the long form, which is to say, okay, our new variable equal to our old variable plus the number we want to add. But instead of writing the long form, we go just say our old variable plus equal to the number we want to add. So if we have our variable b to be originally 100 and we won't make them 120 by adding 20, if you write out in the long form like this, or if you just say b plus equals 20, which means automatically take our original b and add 20 and then save them as b again. So just change the value of our b by adding the old b plus this new value we want to add will be 20. And if you do this exact thing for minus equals, so let's say we get our original variable as 50 and we want to subtract 10. Instead of to write the long form like this, we could just write a minus equals 10, which is the same thing as saying 50 minus 10 to be our new a. And if we do the same thing for multiplication, and if we do the same thing for divisions as well. For multiplication, it just means multiply our previous a value by 5 and then save the number as a. So change the value of our a to be the previous value multiplied by 5. And the same thing for division. Change the value of our b. So our previous value divided by 2. Now, moving on from number operations to string operations for JavaScript, how to work with strings for JavaScript. I tell you, to write your strings, you guys put that in double quotation. But waiting, I not tell you, and I say we fit also use single quotation marks instead of double quotes. Now, waiting go decide when to use single or double. Well, usually you won't use single if you dey use actual literal quotation marks inside your strings. That is, if you want quote something inside your string, and you not just they use the quote as a way of writing strings, though you they use the quotes as quotes. Say it is literally part of the string where I won't write. So for example, if I won't write this string, the ball isn't blue, it's red, and I won't put this blue inside quotation marks. If I begin my string with double quotes, you go end them for year because here we'll use another double quote. And even though we dey use them literally, you dey assume say we dey use them as part of our string ending. But if I start with single quotes, you go not say, okay, my string ending where I dey expect na also single quotes. So if you encounter double quotes, you go treat them as literal double quotes where we want use them for. You know, we treat them as say at the end. So if I also log the output now, it will show me the correct thing where I want with my quotation marks for my blue. But if I do one as double, you go return error. Now, if I won't use literal quotes for my string and I still will use double quotation marks, you get where if you do that one as well. One of the ways if you do them, I say we go use escape character. We dey call them escape character for JavaScript. This escape character na backslash. So make we do one example where we go use double quotes, and anywhere where we get literal quotes inside our strings, we must write backslash first like this. So now this backslash go serve as a way to escape the program from thinking that this is the angle quote instead of a literal quote. Since they don't put this backslash before this quotation mark, that means say now literal quotation mark with this, they use them literally, they won't put them inside their strings. Hope you say that they try to say now the end of a string with this. No, they use them literally because they don't put this backslash as they send to your program to tell your program say this is a literal quote, and you can't put them for everywhere. So you go put them for the first beginning of your quotation marks, not of the string of the actual word where you want put in quotes. And you will put for the second one for that word too. And then for the end, you will use your quote as normal to say now the end of the string be this. Now, you feel the wonder, which is the best way to use double quotes inside my strings? May I just use single quote to start and end by string for? May they use escape characters? Well, na single quote be the best because e dey easier to use, e dey easier to read, and e go make your code dey very neat. But something dey wey even better pass both single quotes and double quotes to write strings for JavaScript. Now, wetin we dey call backticks. Why backticks better na say even with our single quote, you still won't use another single quote inside your string, and you go encounter the same problem as before with the double quote because it go treat your first single quote as the end. So to escape all of these ones in general without using any backslash, you go just use the backtick symbol for your string, which means wetin dey inside na string though, but I still fit use other quotation marks inside and e no go treat am as say no be my own quotation marks. Now, we get several other characters wey you fit use escape characters for JavaScript so that your JavaScript code no go treat them like say na keyword or symbol. You want make e treat them like literal thing wey you dey use them for. One of them na this backslash itself. If you want to use backslash inside your code and you won't use them normally, you go first use backslash as an escape character first, then use your actual backslash. So the first backslash, they tell them say, dey use whatever comes next, literally, normally. So what comes next now? The backslash. So you go use your backslash normally. If you use just one backslash, you go think say you dey escape something and your code no go work correctly. So to use actual backslash, you go first use one backslash, then the actual backslash. Other ones dey like this new line character. If you want make your string start on a new line, space. If you just add space or you press enter, it no go work. You go guys use backslash n, which is new line, and we dey use backslash t for tab and backslash b for backspace. No need to memorize all of these things. You should be pursuing saying they find them easy to memorize stuff. There's no problem. But if you the 5 things hard to memorize, no need to worry about cramming all these things. No. If you dey rank your programs with the practice well, e go dey part of you. Now when you dey use them, they develop actual projects, they learn, they watch tutorials, obviously people they use them. It go become natural to you instead of they say, oh, before I move on, I got cram this thing, I got cram this thing. No, continue with your lesson. Just understand what you will try achieve with these things. No need to cram anything. Now, we dey move on to joining strings. If you want join 2 strings together, I don't tell you before, we fit use plus this sum symbol to add strings, just like we use them to add numbers. If we use them to join 2 strings together, now what they call concatenation. So let's start. Let's say we get 1 string and then another string. We fit add both strings together with plus and save them inside a 3rd string. And we fit do them directly by saying our variable joint string equal to our first string plus our second string. And the final output could be the first string and the second string joined together as 1 string. We fit also use the plus equals operation for strings like we use them for numbers. So for instance, if we get this variable as string and we want add another string, instead of saying add this plus this, like the long one, we go simply write the short form as say plus equals the new string. So this is literally the same thing. When they say old string plus the new string, save them as the variable we will take save the old string. So the old string plus the new string will be equal to our updated string. Of course, if we also add 2 string variables together, if both of them are strings, so we go save the new string when we want to add also as a variable, and then we will use the variable to add to another variable. So instead of saying plus equals this string itself, we could say plus equals this variable, which we don't already set to be equal to string. So basically, we just add this variable and this variable together to form a string containing the entire string of both of them joined together. It gets way we will take the length of our string for JavaScript. By length, I mean say how long our string be, how many characters they inside. For this, we use string method called .length. So all we need to do now to type the name of our string .length. So let's say we save our string variable as this variable and we want to take the length. We could just say, okay, the names we will take store our string .length. You fit also use the entire string without saving it as a variable. No matter how long your string be, you fit write the entire string and then put dot length inside and it go give you the right value. But this one dey too long and you no clean, so you go save am inside variable and then you go type the name of your variable dot length. Of course, you fit also save am inside another variable, but the van wey go save inside your variable, remember, no be the string go save o, na the number, the length of the string na im go save inside your new variable. This dot length method no be the only method wey we get for strings and no be the only method wey we get for JavaScript. Now I will tell you wetin be methods for JavaScript. Methods na function wey we take dey use on specific type of data to find out things about that data or to do things to that data. Methods dey specific because usually you fit use them only for their data type. So for instance, this method wey we take check strings, you know me say we fit use them for other data types like boolean or other types of data. We dey call methods from specific type of data. Once you reach the end of your JavaScript lesson, you sef go know how to create your own data types for yourself and create methods wey be say you fit only use for that data type. But for now, just know say some methods dey wey we fit use on strings to do things to them or find out things about them, and one of them na this length method. Other method wey we get na to uppercase method. We fit use this one to convert our strings to uppercase. So we get our string and we save it inside this variable. Then we go all write the name of our variable, then dot to uppercase with these open and close brackets, and it go change everything to uppercase. And we fit also use to lowercase. We also get the trim method. The trim method, we fit use trim white spaces for our string. White spaces na all these places. If you dey collect data from your users, for example, if they collect their names or address or any other string data, some go accidentally put space by mistake, and you as a developer, you gats correct that error. So instead of saying my users, make sure say you no put space. So no, you go make them type their name and their address and any other string data we won't collect. But before you save that data to your database, you go make sure say you use this trim method to clean any space where fit dey. If no space dey, you go use them as normal. So now one of the things what we dey do as smart programmers be that. Again, I will advise you no need to focus on cramming or memorizing these methods. Once you dey use them, you dey practice, you go develop enough expertise to remember them naturally. You fit continue to dey study string methods on your own just to find out the ones wey we get. If you research them or if you ask ChatGPT. But once you understand wetin dem be and wetin we dey use them for, no need to start to dey cram say, oh, if I never cram all the string methods with the JavaScript for my life, I no go move on. No, that even be top programmer sef no sabi every single method. They just must say this method dey wey we take dey do these things, and when I need them, I fit easily Google am or ask person wey sabi am. Now, one of the other things we fit do with strings for JavaScript might say we fit access specific characters from that string. That is, we fit access alphabet with a part of the string or any characters we want inside that string. Now, how we go do am be this? We go first write the name of our variable we will take save our string. Then we go open this square bracket and close them. Then inside we go write the number we will call the notation we correspond to the character we will need. Now, if we get our string variable of Michael, we fit access any of these alphabets using this bracket notation. Let's say we want access the first character will be M. We fit do am by saying the name of our string, square bracket, and we go put the position of the character. So for this M now, we don't say na him be the first character in this string. So we go put 1. Now, maybe console log wetin go show. You see said na I show instead of M. Why? But my M be our first character. Why N no show? Because JavaScript and virtually all programming languages, they start their notation from 0. So the first character no be 1. 0. So if we use 0 instead of 1, we go see say it will give us our M's. And if we use 1, it will give us I. Now like so it will be. Now if you want access the last, you go count them. Michael, Michael. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last one 6. So we go use the notation as 6. And you see say Michael, that word, that string, my 7 characters they there. The last one could be 6 because we start from 0. Alternatively, if you won't accept the last characters, instead of counting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like we do before, we fit just use this smart way of programming. We will say the name of our string dot length minus 1, because the name of our string dot length will give us how many characters there is like we learned before. So if we use our first name variable now as Michael and we say first name dot length, it go return 7 because 7 characters na in dey there. But since we dey start from 0 for our notation, we go make sure that we subtract them by 1 to give us the actual value where we want for the last character of our string. We dey usually use this one if we don't know how long our string be. So if you don't know how long your string be, or you don't even know wetin the string be, you just dey collect them from your users, or you get plenty strings wey you want iterate over. Instead of today do am manually, say count how many characters dey here, count how many characters dey here, you go just use this smart way to code. Say the name of the string dot length minus 1. No matter how long the string be, if you use this code, you go always return the last character. And if you won't do the second to the last, instead of doing minus 1, you go do minus 2. And if you want to do the third to the last, you will use minus 3, and so on and so on.